Welcome, everybody. I appreciate everybody's time tonight. You could have been anywhere else on a Friday night, but you chose to be here to develop yourself. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And for anybody new to the Eretmis family, this is Eretmis Academy. And we do cyber chats every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. And we will try to keep it at 8 p.m. If we don't, like the conversation don't keep going on and on. All right, but it's 7 to 8 p.m. Every time. All right. So welcome once again to Eretmis Academy. And I'm going to do a little intro about myself. So I'm Dr. Edu. You're going to see me around a lot if you are familiar with the Eretmis Academy. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I love everything cybersecurity. I'm also very passionate about teaching. So you see me teaching most of the courses here at Eretmis. And I'm a former professor at University of Maryland Global Campus. It's Global Campus, not Global College. And CTC, Central Texas College. I'm the founder of Eretmis Inc. and Eretmis Academy. Eretmis Inc. is a cybersecurity consulting firm based in New York. We specialize in cybersecurity audits, and our niche is PCI DSS assessments. And my sets, these are my only sets, QSA, PCI, P, and the list goes on. So that is about me. Now, what are we going to talk about today? So today's topic, we are going to look at the top 10 ways that you can discover the cybersecurity career that is right for you or that best suits, the current skills and knowledge that you have, right? Now, granted, you need a little bit of IT or cybersecurity knowledge and skills to add to what you have, but we're going to show you a way, that you can easily leverage what you have to be able to get into the cybersecurity industry. So that is what we'll be talking about today. Now, a little housekeeping as we are moving through the slides. If you have any questions, please raise your virtual hand, and I'm going to pause and allow you to answer your question. Okay. So that way, we keep it at a steady pace. Okay. And if you want to type your question in the chat, you can do that as well. But for that, we'll probably address it at the end of the presentation. Okay. So the topics that we're going to look at, 10 main topics. The 10th or the last topic is going to be questions and answers. So we will say 9, but the questions and answers are also very important. So we first look at how to begin, right? Where does it start, or where do you start? And then we will look at your transferable skills. What skill sets are transferable onto IT or into the cybersecurity field, and how to get your foot into the door, right? Without an IT background or cybersecurity background. What certifications are required for you to land your first cybersecurity job, or even if you are in the industry already, to advance your cybersecurity career, what certifications do you need? And we're also going to look at the 7 main categories of cybersecurity, the major pillars in cybersecurity. So the 7 main areas that everything in cybersecurity will fall under. And we'll look at how to get a reference, if you're applying for jobs and they want you to give a reference for somebody for them to call and verify that, okay, so do you have what it takes to do a cybersecurity job? How do you come up with that, right? And what exactly are employers looking for? That will be topic 7. What exactly are employers looking for? And topic 8 will be how to structure your CV or your resume, right? So CV is mostly for, academic side, if you want to apply to be a professor or something. And other jobs, maybe some research jobs and stuff, but predominantly it's going to be a resume, all right? And how to prepare for job interviews. That is also a very big one. So the do's and the don'ts, and then we will look at questions and answers. So we will begin with the first topic. Exactly how do you begin your cybersecurity career without any IT background? Or, this will pertain to people who want to begin. So if you are in already, we will get to a point where you're also going to gain something out of it, right? So there's going to be something for everybody in this presentation, okay? And if you know of anybody who is interested in getting into cybersecurity, you can send them the playback of this once we are done. Okay, so where do you start? how do you acquire the needed qualifications to start a cybersecurity career? So there are three main ways that you can break into the cybersecurity industry, right? The first one that we'll look at is self-study, right? You can choose to self-study, maybe probably talk to somebody who knows what they are doing, or probably on your own, just do your own research, buy the books, study them, sit for the certifications, maybe get some, hands-on training somewhere. So you will self-study, you are trying to figure out everything on your own, right? And we will look at the pros and cons of each of these ways to break into the industry. Now, the second way that you can break into the industry is training and certification courses. So training and certification courses are mostly conducted by non-traditional schools like Eretmis Academy and other schools that are out there, IT schools that they normally tag as boot camps. And then the last way to break into the industry is through college. That is the traditional way. Now, whether you pick either of these will predominantly be based on the money that you want to spend, the time that you have available. Because if you are looking to switch careers within the next 4 or 5 or in a year's time, I don't think a 4-year degree is going to be the right way to go, right? But if you have that time and the money, obviously you can do like the 4-year. So there is no really right or wrong way to break into the industry. Some people did self-study, they were able to make it, right? Some people went through training and certification courses, they were able to make it. College, they were able to make it. But the downside to maybe some of these ones is like the first one is self-study. So with cost-wise, self-study is very cheap, right? But then it's going to cost you a lot of hours and a lot of headache. So trying to figure out on your own, and cybersecurity is like the big jungle that once we just put you in and tell you to figure it out yourself, it will take you a little bit, to be able to find your way. Let me go back. Sorry about that. To find your way. So self-study, but it's doable. Don't get me wrong. Self-study is doable because people have done that. I've seen people who have done self-study, right? And training and certification courses. So out of the three, training and certification courses, they fall in the middle when it comes to costs, or in terms of like money, it is in the middle. So it's not as cheap as self-study. That can be you buying a book from Amazon for $30 and probably watching a bunch of YouTube videos and trying to figure it out on your own. This is a bit higher, it will cost you, a bit higher. Now, with the training that you're going to get with mostly the non-traditional schools, mostly that is what is going to give you exactly what you need for you to start working in the cybersecurity industry. Because most of these companies that are doing the non-traditional training, they are industry players who knows exactly what you need, right? They know exactly what you need in terms of knowledge and in terms of skill, right? So not just speaking for Eretmis, but for all other boot camps out there, most of them, they know what they are doing, right? And they know like where to point you to do what. Now with college, cybersecurity degrees and anything that has to do with cybersecurity started in colleges not too long ago, right? So colleges were doing their predominantly, IT, software engineering courses and computer science courses. And they recently just, moved into the cybersecurity sphere. So still, they are kind of still trying to figure out, like curriculum-wise, what works and what doesn't work. So that is not to say if you get a college degree, a degree is a degree, right? For somebody with a PhD, I can't say anything bad about any type of degree. Degree is degree, it is good. And mostly in your career as a cybersecurity professional, you're going to get to a point where it's going to be a degree that is going to give you that edge to get that higher promotion, right? So, but we are talking now about breaking into the industry, not, we are not at a level where you want to progress and be in a managerial or in a leadership spot, right? At that point, you probably need some degree of some sort. Okay? But breaking into the industry with the resources that you have right now, looking at these three, if you have the option, if you have like a scholarship like the ones that we were talking about last week and last 2 weeks, If you get any of those and you have to go to college with it, I mean, yes, that is good because you are not, paying that money, and you can be combining college with, certification training from non-traditional schools, or even doing self-study on the side, to help break into the industry. So you don't necessarily have to use any one of these. You can combine them, right? And because your goal is to be able to break into the industry, right? So if you combine all three and it's going to work for you, then more power to you, right? But in terms of cost, time, I'll probably go with the training and certification courses, right? But if you have the time and the money, adding college to it is a big plus, right? But self-study, some people like to figure stuff out, but at the end of the day, you probably need to talk to somebody in the industry to also kind of give you some guidance, because you can just, no matter how good you are at running, if you are going to point A, but you are running towards point B, you run all day, but you're not going to get there, right? So if you don't get some little guidance on the self-study part, although it's cheap, it's going to cost you a lot in the long run. Most people go that route and they get frustrated and then they stop. They don't even want to do it anymore, right? But so these are the three main ways to break into the industry. Okay? And I know now everybody kind of have a good idea about, which one to choose or which ones to combine, right? So let's look at topic 2. With topic 2, we are looking at how to transfer your current skills and abilities into cybersecurity experience, right? So I get this a lot. People who want to get into the cybersecurity industry, their first question is going to be like, so how do I, because since I don't have any cybersecurity experience or IT experience, how do I get into the cybersecurity industry after the training? Now, that is very easy. In cybersecurity, we will get to that in, I think, topic 3 or 4. That in cybersecurity, we are not just looking at the technical side of things. We are looking at 2 main types of skills: your soft skills and your hard skills. So hard skills being your technical cybersecurity knowledge and skills that you are bringing to the table. Your soft skills being, your people skills, communication, presentation, attention to detail, everything soft skill, right? That plays a very vital role as well. So some jobs is 50-50. Some jobs is maybe 70 on the technical side, 30 on the soft skill side. Some jobs are like 60 on the soft skill side and probably like 40 on the technical side. So it depends on what job you are choosing, right? So skills that anybody on this platform has at this point in their life, you have some people skills. So even if you're not in a leadership spot, leading people, at least communicating with people, you've done some job of some sort, right? So communicating with people, handling yourself in a professional manner, all that, will translate. Now, there are some jobs that, so let's say if you are working in the health industry right now, right? Let's say you are a nurse, right? Some of the things you are doing right now, they are directly transferable. So dealing with patients, I mean, talking to people, calming them down in like situations that are very challenging, right? And all those are skills that are needed, right? So if you are a cybersecurity professional now, you are in an organization that like there's a breach or there's like a very big incident, you've been in other positions in other industries where you were working in stressful environments. So that same skills that you are applying to calm yourself down, think it through and execute, the same thing applies in cybersecurity as well, right? So it's not just about the technical skills. Some jobs, if you have the technical skills and you are not really good on the soft skill side, they are not going to pick you, even though you have the technical skills, right? So in cybersecurity, I say every time there is something for everybody. I don't care what you've done or what you are doing. If you tell me what you did, we can do an analysis. Take out, if you're a nurse, just take out that nurse. Just look at the things that you do, right? Identify, some of the things that you are doing, and we will be able to just transpose that onto cybersecurity and show you exactly like a position in cybersecurity where the same thing that you are doing is being done from a different perspective in terms of IT, right? So Those are some of the ways that we can get around the experience side. So if in cybersecurity, we are looking at soft skills and hard skills, and if you have, some years under your belt on the soft skill side, that automatically also counts towards your experience in cybersecurity, right? But with that being said, that doesn't mean once maybe you've gone through a course, you are ready to apply for a job. Now you are going for cybersecurity jobs that are requiring you to have probably like 15 years of experience because, oh yeah, I was a leader in this company for 20 years. So I think, yes. So your leadership, they are looking for two set of skills. So if you read the job title and it's heavy on the leadership side, I wouldn't still even go for like a 10-year plus because they will expect you to know certain things on the technical side that you might not be able to. So I'll probably say, to be on the safe side, if maybe probably have like 10 years of experience in something in terms of the soft skills, and you want to leverage that at cybersecurity side, maybe you can probably cap it up at maybe 3 or 4, right? So that is going to be like a good rule of thumb for you because you need to top up with your technical knowledge as well. Okay? So what skills are needed? I kind of talked ahead of myself, but we are going to look at something that we call the cybersecurity competency model. And this model has been designed for different industries. This is the one for cybersecurity. And this model is not designed by me, unfortunately. It is designed by the Employment and Training Administration under the US Department of Labor. So if you go to their website, you'll be able to find this. Actually, that is where we pulled this from, okay? So it was designed by a government agency, and it was designed specifically for cybersecurity professionals, right? And they didn't just do this because somebody was bored, but it was based on research that they did, and they came up with this competency model. So simply what this cybersecurity competency model is about is areas that you have to be competent in to be able to function effectively in cybersecurity, right? So as the name suggests, competency model, right? So the purpose is to outline competencies needed by individuals who want to get into the cybersecurity industry. So this is the model, right? We have sort of kind of like a pyramid, right? So we have, if everybody can see my cursor or mouse, so we have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, right, for the competency model. Now, each tier is addressing a specific competency or competencies. So tier 1 addresses your personal effectiveness competencies, and that includes interpersonal skills, integrity, professionalism, initiative, adaptability, flexibility, dependability, and reliability, lifelong learning, right? This is tier 1. So if you are competent in any of these or all of them, I think you pass tier 1, right? Tier 2, academic competencies. So what are the academic qualifications that you need to be able to work in cybersecurity or function effectively in cybersecurity? You should, 1, know how to read, know how to write, right? You should know some math, not, being in cybersecurity for and just even in IT for all this long. You don't really need math that much, but maybe a little here and there. Even the ones you need is probably going to be like 4th grade math, right? Unless, of course, you are doing cryptography in cybersecurity and we are like mastering or specializing in cryptography. Even that, there are softwares to compute some of that stuff. So don't get scared if you don't like math. You should know some science and technology, right? You shouldn't get scared of that too. It's not, you don't have to be Einstein, right? And communication. So you should be able to communicate, right? Critical and analytical thinking, and then fundamental IT user skills. Yes, so this is very key. Most people will ask you, okay, do I need to be super good with IT? And I tell them, all you need to do is to be computer literate, right? If you can send an email, you can download a simple app, you can, browse the internet, you can do little research on the internet, you should be good because the rest is teachable and it's learnable, okay? You don't have to be a computer programmer before you can get into cybersecurity or into IT. Anybody who tells you that is because they don't know. I can tell you that on authority, right? Because there are so many areas in cybersecurity that some don't even bother on the technical side, frankly. But if you are trying to break into it, don't limit yourself and just push yourself into some corner. Try to be all-rounded if you can, right? That way, when you are moving up the ladder, you can specialize in the area that you really want. And tier 3 is the workplace competencies. So from your personal, what you have to be competent in as a person, what you have to be competent in terms of academic competencies, we come to the workplace. So at the workplace, what are employers looking for, or what should you be competent in? And first thing here is teamwork. For most of our students on here and people who have actually, who have started working, I mean, they can attest to this. Teamwork, very critical. You can be the most technical and most knowledgeable person. If you can't work in a team, you are of no good to the organization, right? So teamwork. So if in an interview, even though you are better than somebody else, and they see that that person is coming with a lot of, shows that they can, they will be a better part of the team than you, they will pick that person, regardless of your technical skills, right? Because technical skills, they are learnable and teachable, easily, but soft skills, they are very hard and tricky to measure, right? So if you can prove that, hey, I've been working in, different scenarios in different teams, and you are be able to convince them, that is a big plus. So at the workplace, we are looking at teamwork, planning and organization, creative thinking, problem solving, key, very important, decision making, also very important. Mostly you'll be expected to, be innovative, come up with good ideas that will help solve problems, and then working with tools and technology, key. So that is where the hands-on portion comes in. The skills, the hands, knowing how to use the tools that are, popularly, especially the most popular ones that are being used in cybersecurity, like SIM tools, vulnerability scanning tools, and, ones that the SOC areas are using, Wireshark and them. Knowing them is going to, being competent in them or knowing them, having a working knowledge of it is going to set you apart. And, business fundamentals, right? Fundamentals here, and health and safety. So this is what they are looking for at the workplace competencies. Now with tier 4, we are looking at industry-wide technical competencies. So we are looking at cybersecurity technology. You should know cybersecurity technology, information assurance, risk management, incident response, and incident detection, key, and remediation. So this is purely technical. Tier 4 is purely technical. Now tier 5 is industry sector functional areas. And that is what we'll be looking at, I think, in the next 2 slides. So industry sector functional areas, if you want to get into the industry, you have to know the different functional areas within the industry and know where your skill sets, you can easily leverage your skill sets to break into the industry, right? So reason why we are doing this talk is to help you understand and also be able to, find a path if you are still struggling to get into the industry. Find a path where you can easily leverage yourself and get into the industry rather than, going up some hill that is going to take you almost, a really significant amount of time. Okay, so you have some skills and knowledge already. Let's look at where you'll be able to leverage yourself very easily. And then, so this is the cybersecurity competency model. Okay. Now, a little analysis of the competency model, as we saw in the discussion that just went on, we could see that from tier 1 to tier 3, the focus was on soft skills, right? If anybody paid attention to it, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, we are looking at predominantly soft skills, right? And it's about you. Now, tier 4 was more technical on the technical side. Tier 5 is also knowing, which area you belong in the industry. Okay, so that goes to show you that soft skills is not just, Dr. Edu who keeps just talking about soft skills, but it is really needed in cybersecurity. So if you have any soft skills and we can package it well to let your employers see the value in it, then, maybe probably 30 or 40% of the job is done. Right? Now, how do you get your foot into the door? We will look at some of the ways that you can, get your foot into the door. So we talked about soft skills. We talked about the two main set of skills that are needed: technical skills, which is your hard skills, and your soft skills. That is your teamwork, leadership, management skills, interpersonal skills, right? Paying attention to detail. We looked at all that. How do you get your foot into the door? Now, first, aside your soft skills, you also need to gain some technical skills, right? So you don't have to be an expert in the technical side. You have to have a working knowledge of it. Some job descriptions will tell you, okay, we need you to have a working knowledge of maybe Splunk, right? Splunk is a SIM tool. We need to have a working knowledge of this. We need to, so how they word it, but just to let you know that you don't have to be an expert in it. You have to know enough to be able to, maybe work with it, okay? So you have to acquire the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities. In cybersecurity, we call it KSA. And it's KSA for a reason. You can't skip knowledge and go straight to skill. And you can't skip skill and go straight to abilities, right? So it's your knowledge that is going to help you to, get into the skills area, and using your knowledge to do what you're supposed to do with it is what we classify it as skill. And then if you do it very often, it becomes, part of you. In the Army, we will say is a muscle memory, right? So even if you're asleep at midnight and we wake you up and you are still, kind of dozing off, if we ask you something about this or tell you to do it, you'll be able to do it. At that time, it becomes an ability, right? It's like it's there. But we move from knowledge, skill, and ability. So for you to start or break into the industry without even the ability, if you have the knowledge, a fairly decent knowledge and, fairly decent skill, you should be good, okay? So because employers at entry level, they are not expecting you to be, like the most technical cybersecurity person, or like the person who is going to come in and save the company, right? So at least, but you should come in with some knowledge, because they are not going to employ you and pay you all this big money and then, teach you, because whatever school that you went to, you paid money and to receive whatever tuition. So, and plus they don't really have the time, right? So imagine you going to your manager every time, what is this? How do you use this? They will give you an orientation. Don't get me wrong. They will give you an orientation, expose you to all the tools and stuff, but you can't go to them and ask them, how do I save this? How do I open a new folder? How, or how do I analyze the scan? They expect you to know that already. So that is why you have to come in with some knowledge, skill, and ability. Now, some employers, if they know that you probably don't meet the experience requirement or the skills requirement, if you can prove, or during the interview, they see that you are coming with a lot of knowledge, sometimes they'll just take you under their wing and, train you. So because they know with your knowledge, it's very easy for them to add the skills portion of it, right? But if you, like, the knowledge is non-existent, then there's very little that they can do up on that side for you, okay? And also your ability to perform tasks associated with the job titles. Now, talking about job titles, there was a research that I wanted to add to this, but that is like a full presentation on its own. So since cybersecurity, there's a shortage of cybersecurity professionals, and most people who have been following us, they are aware. You can just go to CyberSeek and check that. Right now, it's almost around 600,000. Now, this shortage is real, but the problem of filling these shortages is between hiring managers and employers and the cybersecurity professionals or people who want to get into the industry. So hiring managers, not through any fault of them or of theirs, right? The job descriptions that they will put out, most of them, is kind of problematic, because they might want an entry-level professional and put on the entry-level professional with maybe 3 to 5 years of experience, who is supposed to have CISSP, right? First off, entry level is supposed to be 0 experience to probably maybe 1 year or 6 months, right? 2, for you to get CISSP, you have to have 5 years of experience. If you have 5 years of experience, you are an intermediate level, okay? So they just keep putting these things together, and then somebody who might have the skills and knowledge to do the job at the entry level, they will see it and they're just going to put them off. So they wouldn't attract the right people applying for the job. And even that applies to people at the intermediate and advanced, right? They might put something out and you might be maybe a cybersecurity engineer. You look at it, this is not for me. But that is probably not what you're really going to be doing on the job, right? I mean, maybe probably people on here can attest. People who got jobs, probably you are not 9 out of 10, you are not doing what was on your job description, right? But the job description, if you don't take care, is going to be like the barrier point where you will kind of talk yourself out of the job. Now, that is not to say if you are trying to break into the industry, go and apply for a job that is requiring you to have 15 years of experience. Okay. But anything from 0 to 4 years, I think you should be good, because how they come up with a job description and what they do mostly is also copy and paste. If I have to, I'm HR and I have to, put out this job description for my company, I don't have any template. I'm just going to call Mike. Hey, Mike, do you guys have any template? Yeah, we do. I'll just get it, copy and paste, and change their company's name and put my company's name in. So that is how most of them, are going around. So you're like, we are seeing like the same errors, being transferred from one area to the other. But, like, don't be scared to apply for those ones. And then also if you read a job description, not like that is what you have to start off on. You don't really know what you're going to do in there. Probably something on those lines, probably not, but that is what is going to get you into the door anyways. So we put in here, if you read it and you're comfortable with like 70% of what they are looking for, but I'll even say probably even with 50, you should be good, right? Even with 50, just give it a shot, right? So the main thing here is you are not really being like overly, confident and applying for jobs that is way out of your league. Even if they don't do any interview and they ask you to come and do the job, you wouldn't be able to do it. Don't be applying for jobs like that, right? But aside those, right, anything that you think you're comfortable with, give it a shot. And you should be willing and ready to learn, right? And you should communicate that to your employer, your potential employer, that yeah, this is what I'm bringing to the table, but I'm also willing and ready to learn. They like that, right? And that might be that tipping point for you to get in the job. And you should be open to options. Maybe you are applying to be a cybersecurity analyst. They are like, you know what? We have a cybersecurity specialist role. Will you take it? Don't be too emotionally attached to cybersecurity analyst, because probably when you take the cybersecurity analyst, you'll be doing the job of a cybersecurity specialist. Okay. So job titles, they have to be there, but they don't necessarily mean that that is what you're going to be doing. And even if that is what you are doing, job titles in different organizations, they do different things, right? So don't get hung up on job titles, okay? And be confident in your own abilities and skills. I was talking to one of our students who is working today, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he was talking to me, and then I was like, so how is work going? How are things going? What are you guys doing? And I'm like, yeah, and like, I mean, like, we are talking. So from the questions I was asking him and what is transpiring over there, it seems that probably in the team that he's in, he's the most knowledgeable. And these people have been working there for a little bit. And I just told him, how, like, you see how you guys you sell yourself short because you are behind the curtain and you're not gotten a job already. You might be thinking you don't really have what it takes, but you actually do, because on the job there are a lot of people who are winging it. I mean, for some reason they found themselves in there and they are just winging it, and they are not even willing to go and brush up on their knowledge and their skill. So whatever you think you don't know, you're probably going to get to a job and then you realize, oh, like what you think that is common, everybody should know, they don't even know half of it. Okay? It can even be your boss. I know some people who are on this call right now, and their bosses have shown them that they've been working for 6 years, but they really, don't know that much, right? I mean, how people got into jobs, it's not in your place to like decide or to say anything, but the main point there is be confident in your own abilities, because you might know more than you think you know. Okay, and in the same way, don't also be deceiving yourself. If you know you don't know, you don't know. So, but at the same time, don't sell yourself short. Okay, so what certifications do you need, or do I need to get into a cybersecurity job? Now, before we even go into that, you don't necessarily need a certification to get a cybersecurity job. There are a lot of people working in the industry with zero certification, right? Zero. And some of these people are working in high positions like CISO, uh, uh, CIO, and they don't really have any certifications, right? But for you, certifications, if you have them, is good, but don't be a chaser of certifications. I had a call from a guy who, I don't know if he called me to tell me all his certifications, or he called me to ask for direction, or he called me to, like, I was really confused about what the call was about. He called me asking about the program, and I'm like, okay, so what do you do? Oh, I did this, and I'm taking this course, and I have this certification, and I have that, and I have that. I'm like, okay, so why did you call me? Like, what do you need help with? It seems like you have it all figured out. Yeah, in the next 2 months, I'm also going to get this. Okay, and like you are not working in the industry. Yeah, I'm trying to get in, but okay. So piling these certifications, it might make you feel good, but it's probably going to be your barrier of getting into the industry. Why am I saying that? Right? If all certifications come with weight, so unless of course whoever is interviewing you also don't know anything, but if you come to me and you say you have Security Plus, I know what you have to know to have Security Plus. And if I ask you any of those and you don't know, then I know how you got your Security Plus. You see what I mean? So if you are trying to break into the industry, you are coming in, you have CISA, you have CISSP, you have like security analyst, you have like 4 certifications, and some of them are like top, brass certifications. So first off, if you don't have 5 years of experience, why do you have CISSP? So I know how you applied and told CISSP you have 5 years of experience and you didn't, right? Or you probably just, so don't get too way ahead of yourselves. Employers, if you have the certification, is good, but try to make sure not to, it's like driving, and try to drive further than you can see, right? So your light can only see so far. But if you want to go faster than, as far as your light can reach, it might probably be problematic for you, in the very near future. So certifications are good. Don't get me wrong. I have like more than 10. They are good. But at where I sit, I can have 25 certifications. But for what? Don't want to get ahead of myself, right? I can just be sitting for these certifications, and there are mostly for like 5 of them. I probably didn't even study anything for it. Just sit for it. But still, I'm not chasing certifications because that is not the point, right? Your knowledge and your skills should be equivalent to your certification, right? So gradually build yourself. If you build yourself to a certain point, you really don't have to study that much or prepare, very heavily for certifications, because you have the knowledge and skills already, right? And in cybersecurity, in IT, is an evolving or very dynamic industry, but the fundamentals remain the same. That is where people get it wrong. Technology, new, there is new shiny objects every day coming up, different software, different that, but the fundamentals remain the same. Okay, so if you have your fundamentals right, certifications, they are all based on the fundamentals, although there might be some stuff added to it, and they will be, from a different angle. So an example, CISSP is more from the operational and the management side of cybersecurity. Security Plus is more from the individual side, like maybe security analyst, what do you know, what can you do, all right? So that is the only difference. They are being looked at from different angles, okay? But if you have the fundamentals right, you can jump from Security Plus to CISSP easy, very easy, okay? So let's talk about certifications. Now for entry level, or for somebody who wants to break into the industry, like I said, certifications are not needed, but it will make you, 1, it will make you look good. 2, if you really didn't try to cheat and you went through, you studied, you sat for the exams and you passed on your merit, on your own merit, and you are confident in yourself that yes, I did this, and you didn't sit in the exams and didn't know half of the questions but still passed because you knew the answers. If you don't take that route, one, is going to build your confidence. Two, it looks good on you, right? And mostly, although you don't need it, during interviews, if you come head to head with somebody and they don't have the certification, that is going to be like the differentiator, or like that is going to be the edge that you're going to get. And plus, employers will see that at least you are trying to improve yourself, or you are improving yourself. So although they are not necessarily needed, but it's good to have. Okay, so the training that you go through and like the studying and everything is also going to build your knowledge base. Okay, so, and plus, if somebody approaches you in the next 2 years, you've been working in the industry for a while, and they're asking you, hey, I want to write security plus, how is the exams? At least you have something to say, right? And be able to coach people too, right? So for entry-level certifications, right, for cybersecurity, you don't necessarily need A+ and Network Plus. If you have it, it gives you some, very good background for you to be able to jump to Security Plus. If you don't, you can easily jump into Security Plus as well. And so for entry-level, Security Plus, industry-wide, is the go-to when it comes to somebody who wants to your first certification in cybersecurity. Security Plus. ISC Square, the owners of CISSP, they came up with an entry level certification, and that is also kind of fairly new. So it's something that you can look at. And I think ISACA also has one. I don't remember the name, but it's not as popular. But out of all of them, although I've not taken, or I've not, seen anything on the ISC Square entry level cybersecurity certification, my heart will go for Security Plus any day. Okay, because Security Plus covers a lot of field, and it's also very technical. So even if you want to, in later years, you don't, people will say, I don't want the technical part, but there is nothing like I don't want the technical part, because the technical part is going to follow you everywhere. Okay, name whatever area of cybersecurity you want to go into, and I'm going to tell you how the technical part is going to follow you. Now, some jobs are not very heavy on it, on like technical side. Some jobs are. So if you are not very technical, what you can do is to avoid the heavy technical side and go to the light technical side. But still, you need some kind of technical knowledge, right? And Security Plus will help you to cover that area. Okay? So that is if you are going through the normal channel, and you are trying it to pass it on your own merits, not, like some people go through reading questions and just trying to find 8.8. That is all they are looking for. They don't even understand the question. Don't do that. If you do that, you are just, playing yourself, like DJ Khaled would say. Don't play yourself. Okay, so make sure you go through the normal channel, and you're going to be really proud of yourself, and that you pass this on merit. And also, some of the problems you encounter on the job, like certification that you are taking, the questions and stuff will help you, because most of them are kind of structured and designed around problems that you face in real life. Okay, so that is also going to help build your knowledge base. Now let's look at the 7 major categories in cybersecurity. So everything that is done under cybersecurity, they fall under one of these 7 major areas in cybersecurity, right? So if you don't know these areas, in our free cybersecurity training, the cybersecurity for beginners, we talked about this. So, and also where to find more information about this. This is the NIST framework. Okay, NICE, not NIST, NICE framework. So NICE is a government agency that is like their duties are to educate people on cybersecurity. So I think it's a National Institute or Center for National Institute for Cybersecurity Education, right? All they do is cybersecurity education. If you go to their web, they are under NIST. That is why I probably said NIST. If you go to their website, so just type NICE Nest Nice. It will take you to their website, and then look for the cybersecurity workforce framework. All right. It will break it down and show you the different areas, the skills that you need, the knowledge that you, the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities that you need. And then they'll give you job titles that are associated, under these. So that is, if you didn't get anything today, that is one area that you have to go and research. Now, NICE, what they did was for them to come up with this. Before this framework, there was nothing like that in the cybersecurity sphere. So everybody was doing whatever they wanted, different job titles, different this. But I think it was around 2010 or 2011 that they were tasked to do a research and then come up kind of streamline cybersecurity. So they did research, they looked at so many job titles, and then they categorized them where everyone will fall. So now what they did is they created, they were able, through their research, they came up with 7 major areas in cybersecurity, right? And everything that you do in cybersecurity will fall under one of these 7, okay? So you can go to the site, take a look at it, and, learn more about it. So, and the description for each of these, so they have securely provision. Securely provision deals predominantly with cybersecurity architectural, stuff. Operate and maintain. Operate and maintain deals with support, admin, maintenance. So when I tell you there is something for everybody in cybersecurity, I'm not just saying it for saying it's sake. If you really take a look at this framework, you'll be able to see that whatever you are doing, there is a place that you're going to fit in, right? There is a place that you're going to fit in. Like a very example is if you oversee and govern. So let's say you are somebody who's been teaching, like you've been teaching for maybe all these years. This is an area that you can get into cybersecurity education. So you can be trained and you'll be teaching, cybersecurity awareness classes and like stuff like that, right? So that is an area you can get into. For leadership and management, if that is your baby, you can, get into that area as well, right? So there is something for everybody. Take a look at the Nest Nice workforce framework. It's a very good place to get some info to help you start. Now let's look at 6. So references. Whom are you going to pick as a reference if you are applying for a cybersecurity job? That is what we're going to be looking at. So networking is the name of the game, right? If you want to be in this industry, start networking with people already in the industry. If you have to take them to dinner and pick their brain on how do you guys, so you are learning about the industry. You have to be a lifelong learner of the industry. Okay? So networking, if you are on here and this is your first time, it is one of, networking. Anybody who is on here, once we're done, I put my contacts in there. If you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. I'm very open. And so networking, now you can do it. You sit at the comfort of your home. You'll be on LinkedIn, Facebook. I mean, but predominantly for the professional side is going to be on LinkedIn, right? And chapters, there are different cybersecurity organizations out there. ISC2, is one of them. They have different chapters in different locations. And also, so when you've been able to network and some people within the industry, for reference, at least if they dealt with you on any level, they'll be able to speak to that, right? And for like your previous work, you can use somebody from there. So maybe, and also for anybody you're using as reference, please let them know and let them know exactly what you're applying for, what set of skills, you are using them as the reference for, okay? So if I work with you and I never saw you, leading or doing anything, and you want me to speak to that, I mean, there is nothing that I can really say to that because I didn't see you do it, right? So even if I want to come up with something, it might look like I'm coming up with something because I've not really. So find people who, so somebody might ask, okay, so if I've not worked in cybersecurity, who can speak to my abilities of maybe using SIM tools or doing vulnerability assessments? Now, if you know me, so I'm just using me, right? And we've, dealt on some level, not necessarily you doing anything for me to see, but if I know, oh, you Dr. Edo, I'm working on this project, maybe I have this lab, I'm doing this, this is this, you're asking for help on this, I can speak to the effect that, yes, he knows how to use Splunk because probably I've seen you use it or you asked me about it and you're trying to figure it out. So you don't necessarily have to be working for me to be able to say, okay, but either than that, if you've not dealt with me on any of those levels, I can really not really speak to that. But the main point here is that find somebody, one, talk to the person, make sure they are aware. It's not they're going to call the person and they are like, who? John? Which John? You don't want that. So for references, and also if you want, some people will just use family members. Just be careful about that because you use a family member and they call them and they're probably going to not remember that you told them about something and they're, yeah, John is my cousin. Why? What did he do? That is not going to be good. Okay. So, and also one place that you can really make your money. You want to get into cybersecurity now. You are not currently working in cybersecurity. You can volunteer in a you just do some cybersecurity volunteer work. And then they can, whoever you are working under, they can really speak to. Okay, John was working here, in this capacity. I've seen him work. Okay, so that is a very easy way to gain some experience and also to gain some reference. Okay. So now, what are employers looking for in a cybersecurity professional? So employers are looking for technical skills and soft skills. Okay, but we are going to look at them individually. So this is predominantly like soft skills. So professionalism, integrity. In cybersecurity, if you don't have integrity, there's going to be issues. Okay? Confidence. So you have to be, confident in your own abilities, right? Technical knowledge, not always, but technical knowledge. You have to have some level of technical knowledge. Leadership, managerial skills, self-starter, innovative, ready to learn and grow. Now, most cybersecurity jobs now, they are project-based, right? Except ones that, if you are doing probably like, you are like doing like a SOC audit, not audit, like a SOC gig, you are like SOC analyst or something. Some are going to be project-based, but predominantly you just be monitoring stuff in real time, right? But like cybersecurity analyst and those, you probably going to be working on projects. So mostly nobody's going to be chasing you around to ask you, have you done this or have you not done that? You have a timeline, so you follow the timeline, right? You just have to deliver your products on time. Mostly it's big boy, big girl rule. So nobody's going to chase you around, but they expect you to do what you're supposed to be doing. So if you are the type who always wants somebody to tell you to do this or do that, you have to probably restructure how you do your stuff because you're going to be on your own for the most part. Even if you have meetings during the day, after that, you're going to be working on your own. So you have to come up with your own schedule, plan what you're going to be doing for the week. So being innovative, sometimes you have to come up with your own projects. What they have for you will probably be done, right? So you have to come up with something to prove to them that, hey, this guy is not just going to sit there, but he's actually taking initiative. And that is how you're going to grow. And two, then you become, a very valuable member of the team, right? If not, then you are just occupying space. If for some reason there is, some drawdown on employees, you're probably going to be the first to go, right? And you don't want that. So how do you structure your resume? Please give me a minute. Hey, sorry about that. So let's continue. How do you structure your resume to be able to land, an interview? So when we get into the area of resumes and interviews, there are ways and tricks around it, right? So what I'll first say is give them what they want. Some people will make a resume and they are putting what they think they can do or what they want to put on there, right? So first off, you're not going to be the one employing yourself. So you have to make sure you check out what your employer is looking for. And don't assume your employer is going to figure it out. So don't just put anything on there and, wish they will figure it out and they will understand, right? Try and talk their language. So how they have their job description structured, pick up keywords from it and use it. And also reason why you need keywords is that for big companies, your all resumes that are being submitted, they will first go through an automated system first. So it's not going to get in front of a person. It will go through automated system. Automated system is picking up on keywords. So if you can be the most qualified, if you don't have keywords from their job description, your resume is never going to get in front of a real person, right? So that is why some jobs you apply and you don't hear nothing. That is the reason. Okay, so if it gets in front of a real person, then they'll also do their short list and you're probably going to get a phone call. Okay, so make sure you have keywords from the job description. That doesn't mean you should copy and paste like a whole line and just, put it in there. But make sure you are using the same terminologies they are using, terms. And in finding your dream cybersecurity job, one size does not fit all. So don't try and use one resume to apply for 300 jobs. I mean, yes, you are just throwing it, hoping one will stick. That is going to take you a while, if even possible, to get a cybersecurity job. Now, make sure you tailor your resume to the job, right? That might sound like, a very tedious work, but if you really want the job, it depends on how bad you want it, right? Because if it was easy, everybody would be a cybersecurity professional making 150,000. It's not easy. That is why it's not everybody doing it. So whatever you are doing in life, if you think it's like it is hard, you have to tell yourself that if it's easy, nobody will, everybody would have been doing it, right? So it is not easy. It is doable. That is always what you have to tell yourself. It's doable. It doesn't have to be easy. If somebody has done it, you can do it, right? So you have to make sure, spend time, tailor it to what they are looking for. So what do I mean tailor it to what they are looking for? Your resume should, ideally maybe probably 1 page, or if it goes over 2 pages, right? Don't be sending 5-page resumes. Nobody has time to read that, right? So at least 2 pages. Now the 2 pages is not going to cover everything you've done or everything you know in terms of skills and knowledge. That is why you have to select, pick and choose, because you might read the job description and I can do all this. I have some knowledge in this, some knowledge in that, but then does it reflect on your resume? If it doesn't, because you use it to apply for a different job, just, put whatever you are looking for now in there and then use that. Okay? And that is what will take us into master resume. So as you are going through the job application process, you should be keeping track, or you should have one master resume. And what do I mean by that? So the one that you're going to start off, that you'll be making different variants of it, keep that. And what you have to do is every job description that, every job that you're going to tailor your resume to, right? And okay, so before I even get into that, make sure if you are using resume A and you want to tailor it, don't tailor it on resume A and use that and then tailor it again, and because then you are losing, your baseline. So resave resume A with a different name, and then that becomes resume B for that job, and then you make a C, so each time you make a new one, right? And as you are making a new one, make sure you are grabbing all the important keywords and, everything that that this is what pertains to the kind of job I'm looking for. Pick that and be adding it to your main resume. right? So if you do that enough, it will get to a point where now you might have the luxury of using one resume to maybe apply for 3 jobs and maybe 2 will stick. Okay, although that is not ideal, but sometimes if you just want to get interview reps, just get interviews in to build your confidence, that is what you can do, right? But for the job that you look at and be like, I really want this, you have to tailor it, right? And when you are tailoring it, everything that you think you are putting in there for them to see that you can do the job, don't, don't really make sure you really go all out. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So don't write it anyway, anyhow, and expect them to add the dots, because they are not going to add the dots, right? And you are probably not going to be the only person applying. So if they read it and it's not very clear, it's not simple, straight to the point, they don't understand it, they are not going to try to figure it out, right? So, and also, aside keywords and everything that I talked about, format, you should have a very nice format. There is a format for every industry in terms of resume. Make sure if you're applying for cybersecurity jobs, you are using an IT format or cybersecurity format, right? And then spell check is very easy for you to use spell check in Word. Just, check and make sure everything is good. And then clarity. So spell check, let me just explain a little bit something here. In cybersecurity, one of the soft skills that is very, very, very valuable is attention to detail. So if you're applying for a job and your resume has issues, different fonts, little, spelling errors, it means you don't pay attention to detail. So that really kind of takes you out of the competition, right? And keep it simple, clarity, and keep it very simple. Don't try to overdo it or put stuff that are not necessary for the job you're applying for, okay, or to. So how do you prepare for a cybersecurity interview? How do you really prepare for it? So most people, if you don't know, mostly all things being equal, all the questions that are going to come on your interview, you know them already. But maybe probably you are like, how do I know them already? They are on the job description, right? That is, and I'm saying all things being equal, you might go to the interview and you're probably going to have somebody there who is just, so many things come into play in this setting. Maybe probably they just go off tangent and they're asking you about some random stuff that has nothing to do with the job description. That can happen, right? But all things being equal, if you go to 10 interviews, 9 of them, they are just going to stick to the job description and ask you, okay, so what is that? So all your the questions are on the job description, right? So if you go in there and probably they have on there that you're supposed to have maybe some knowledge of PCI DSS, and they ask you, do you know anything about PCI DSS? And you say no, I think you are doing yourself a big disservice. So if they ask you if you know anything about, even if you've never heard of PCI DSS and you've seen it on the job description, go read about it and know exactly what it is. That doesn't mean you've done it in your life. It means you have a working knowledge of it. I mean, you know it, at least you know something about it, right? So if they know you know something about it, how easy or hard is it for them to decide that, okay, I think this guy is the only one in the interview who knows something about it, so we can, let him in and train him on it. But if you go in there and they know all everything was on the job description and they ask you this, yeah, no, I don't know. They ask you that, no, you don't know. It means you really didn't come prepared. Because another key thing that we saw in the cybersecurity competency model is that you have to be a lifelong learner, right? So they are not expecting you to know everything, but if it was on there, at least you should have taken that time to research and find out what it's all about. So when they ask you during the interview, at least you can speak intelligently about it, okay? Not to say, I don't know. Because if you tell them, well, I know it's about this and this and this and that, and you just leave it as that, you are good. Rather than just saying you don't know, right? So, and also if you've not used it, if it's maybe let's say they're asking you about a tool and you've not used the tool, don't say you've used it, because you don't know whoever is interviewing you, what they know, right? So, but if you know about the two and you can say, oh, I know it is used for A, B, C, and D, but I've not really used it, right? But I know this is how it is being used and stuff. That will, at least give you some credit, okay? So also where you make your money, the job description, it will help you to identify and close your knowledge gap and your skills gap, right? So if you read a job description and you probably maybe you can do 20% of whatever is on there, but you still want to, proceed with this, go and, educate yourself on the remaining 80. And it'll surprise you, you do well on the interview, okay? So not coming to them and saying, okay, I've done all this before, but at least you have working knowledge on it. And mostly, sometimes that is all that they are looking for, especially at the entry level, right? So the job description will help you to identify any knowledge gap and what you don't know. So what you don't know, go look it up and find it. Now it's very easy with your phone, and you'll be able to find it, and then take notes on it and try to understand it more. Go watch some YouTube videos on it, have a better understanding of it. So during interviews, you can talk intelligently about it, and that is what employees are looking for. That you even made that effort to find out more about it. Now about the organization that you're going to have the interview with. Most important, if you want to come and work for Eretmis, and during the interview I ask you, what do you know about Eretmis? And you're like, not that much. You shot yourself in the foot. I mean, if you don't know this company, why do you want to work for it? Right? Maybe our values are not aligned with your values. Maybe like what we do is not like something that you are interested in. So that clearly shows that you have no interest in the company, but you're just there to get paid, right? So you can be the most technical, the most knowledgeable, who can help the company, they're still not going to choose you. Why? Because you don't care about the company. So why would you care to work there, right? So you have to know, what I always tell you is that know the organization you are interviewing, or like the organization that you want to work for. Know the organization more than the hiring manager who works in the organization. Okay, you might ask, how is that possible? I bet you that is very possible, because they are working there, but they probably, if you ask them when was the last time they read the company's mission and vision statement, probably maybe when they were trying to get a job. Okay, so go on their website, learn as much as you can about the company. And during interviews, if they ask you, so what do you know about a company? And you are just, rolling with, okay, I know you guys do this, you do that, that is your vision statement, that is your mission. And also knowing about your company will help you to speak more intelligently when they ask you about, why do you want to work for us? Okay. Now, everybody knows, I mean, 9 out of 10, you really don't care about the company. You just want to, do your cybersecurity thing and get paid big money. But during interviews, you're not going to tell them that. Or is somebody going to tell them that I really don't care about your company, I just want to do my job here and get paid? No, you have to, say it in a nice way. So how are you going to really let them know that you care about the company? Whether you care about it or not, that is up to you. Okay. And, we know like 90% of the people applying for that, like they don't care. But I mean, just have to tell them, okay, so I know your organization, or it may be even reading about them. Now you get to like them more. Maybe they are doing something that really is dear to your heart. So you read their mission and vision statements, you check out what they do. You can, let them know, hey, because you guys are doing this, I love what you are doing. It is a passion of mine. Maybe I like helping people in this area, and that is what your organization is doing. So that is what drew me to your company to, apply and work in this organization, right? So the truth behind that, nobody really cares. I mean, it's between you and them, or between you and you. But for interview purposes, you have to come to them with something substantial and let them know, okay, you did. What that is showing them is not whether you really mean it or you don't. They don't really care, but what they care about is at least you took the time to do that research about their company, and you found out what they did or what they do and their mission and their vision, and you are trying to align yourself to it. At least that is a big plus for you. Okay, so and what are the common cybersecurity issues? Also try to find out in that industry that company is, what are some of the common cybersecurity issues that are there, right? And there are so many ways to find that out. So you can even Google it. Common cybersecurity issues with retail companies. I mean, the list is So you can just at least pick top 3, all right? Pick top 3 or top 4. And during the interview, when they ask you, so what are you bringing to the table? Why should we employ you over everybody else who is applying? Then you can go into the cyber issues or cyber threats that the industry is facing. So you can go like, okay, I know in the retail industry, one of the biggest cyber threats is like hackers breaching organizations and stealing credit card information, right? And from maybe what I know, this is how we will be able to help to prevent that from happening or to mitigate our risks. And then you lay out some ways, right? So now you are not just coming in with asking them what, what should I do, but you are coming in with, okay, I know these are some of the problems you are facing within this industry, which affects, your company as well. And these are some of the solutions that I think we can, or some of the measures we can put in place to prevent it. You and somebody who is just, trying to just try. I mean, if you are going with these mindsets and ideas, you stand a better chance of breaking into the industry and getting your dream job, right? And then last 2 is research possible questions. So possible questions are also going to come from your job description, right? And on your own, if you have nobody to practice with, on your own, practice answering the questions. Now, people might take that for granted and think, okay, I did the research, I know everything, I can talk, I'm a good speaker. Don't really play yourself. I'll keep, like DJ Khaled will say, don't play yourself, because you might think, oh, I mean, you are good. Now, when we open like the session for everybody to maybe talk or ask their questions, I'll throw one question out there and you see how people are going to fumble with it. And this is a very simple question. And it's as simple as, tell me about yourself. This is not a technical question, but a lot of people will just kill their whole interview with tell me about yourself. Was they are either going to run on talking about things that has nothing to do with the interview or their job, or because, I mean, tell me about yourself is yourself, right? So how hard is that? But if you don't practice, my point here is that if you don't practice and, lay out, okay, I'm going to talk about 4 things. So I'm Dr. Emmanuel Edu. Maybe I've been in cybersecurity for 2 years, or I'm an entry-level cybersecurity professional trying to land my first cybersecurity job. These are, some of the tools that I know, or these are some of the projects that I've worked on as an intern. And you can leave it at that, right? But if you don't practice, somebody will just go on now trying to think. I'm John. I went to high school at this place. I did my bachelor's degree here, and then they don't care about any of that. And also, little trick to tell me about yourself, always align tell me about yourself to what the organization is looking for. So you have to bring out your skill sets and your knowledge that aligns to what they are looking for, because that is the language that is the language that they are like, that they will hear, right? So if you keep talking about your life story, all that, they are being nice and polite, nodding, but all that is probably going here and coming out of the other place. They really don't hear you. But if you start talking about, okay, if they are looking for somebody who is very skilled in Splunk, and now you're talking about, one of my, strong areas is using Splunk. I used it in these settings to do A, B, C, and D, and now their eyes is like, oh, okay. So now they are paying attention because that is the language that they understand, right? So there are tricks to these that interviews and stuff, but this is like some of it. When it comes to a very simple question like tell me about yourself, you can really just go off tangents, and that is not going to look good. Now, the last thing and the most important thing is practice, right? So practice, 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 and practice some more. So what are you going to practice? Your interview questions, how to answer them. If you go through almost, all the questions that you probably going to come up with from the job description, and you practice and practice and practice, during the interviews, you are going to be very confident, and everything is going to, go very smoothly. Even if you don't get that job, you'll be proud of yourself. I can tell you that for a fact. And guess what is going to happen? That is also going to propel you into the next interview, into the next. And then by the time you get to your dream job, you're going to kill it. Okay. So now we will jump into questions and answers. And there is a lot of red in the chat. Let me just take a look at it. Okay. So, okay, so there is some conversation going on in there. So the floor will be open now. And I mean, we have the questions, but I'm just going to go through the contact info. And so Eretmis Academy, we offer cybersecurity training, certification preps, job coaching, and we also do internships for our students and a workshop for non-students. And these are our contacts. I'm going to put it in the chat. So we are going to stop sharing screen, and then everybody who has any question can bring it up. So the floor is open now. Please raise your virtual hand, and then we will talk. Oliver, okay. Oliver, is your hand raised? Okay, you are just waving, okay. Atul, please go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my only question is, I mean, during your interview, do you, I mean, honestly, do you, let them know that, okay, maybe I'm just graduating from Eretmis, and then this is an entry level, or do you just, go pick some big words and all that kind of stuff, and then do like a little bit, maybe a little show off or something like that, or just go straight like, hey, this is my first time?
So that is hit or miss. It depends on what job and what they are looking for, right? Mm-hmm. Some jobs will tell you they are looking for somebody with 0 to maybe no experience to maybe 6 months to 1 year experience. So like if you're applying for that job and you just forget about like whatever skills that you have and you tell them, hey, I'm that person, but even with that, you have to let them know you have some skills and knowledge coming in.
Okay.
So you are not just going to go to them and tell them, hey, I don't know anything cybersecurity, but just pick me. I'm going to do my best. They are not
right. Okay.
So at least, regardless, even if you are telling them, hey, I have never worked in cybersecurity in a day, they still expect you to have some knowledge and skill, right? Like something to begin with.
So, okay, thank you.
Richard, go ahead.
Sure, I got 2 questions. The first one is, what if you have a job, but you are interested in the field, you currently have a job, you just want to get your foot to the door whilst you're doing your regular job. That way you can be confident about the knowledge you've acquired and at least be proficient and also have the experience. So whenever you're ready to actually dive into the industry to leave your original job, you can transition smoothly. And the second question is, what are the websites that we can go and volunteer to get some of this, experiences and knowledge?
Yeah, so I'll start with your last one. Websites for jobs. I mean, same websites that you're going to get paid jobs on. So from Indeed to ZipRecruiter to Glassdoor, yes, those are the same places. And if you want to go on the unconventional way, like let's say in LinkedIn, or just maybe if there's like a company around your area, you can approach them. Hey, I just finished school. I have this knowledge. I can work for you guys for free. If you have any projects, so you can like approach maybe the IT team if you have any projects or something. That might not border on any NDA or something that you don't need to know because you're not part of the company. I can assure you they have a lot of stuff that they will give you, right? Yes, there is a lot of stuff. At least, if not for anything, they'll give you some Excel spreadsheet work to do. So, and that was going to count towards your experience. So it's just how you look at it, right? And also coming to your second question, so picking a cybersecurity job in addition to what you are doing now, it depends on what type of job you are doing and the workload. Because as somebody transitioning into a new field, you don't want to go pick a job and then first off, you are figuring out how to do that job. And then you have to add that to your workload that you have already. I think maybe probably depends on who you are or what the two jobs will entail. You might probably not be very efficient in one side, right? So, but still that also come into the question of, do I totally leave my job? If you do get a very good deal, you have probably getting paid more than you are doing now. I mean, you can easily leave if you don't have any like special sentimental emotions attached to your old job. Any more questions? Is Richard's hand still up, or you just didn't put it down? Okay, thank you. Any more questions before we wrap it up? All right. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much. The recording will be posted. It will be sent via email and on the WhatsApp group as well. I appreciate everybody's time. We'll meet again next week, God willing. For interns, we're meeting tomorrow with ADDI, and then we're going to do the internship workshop in the morning. Okay, and then you guys are going to get your project for the week. And the PCI DSS class is starting on the 17th, and the entry level, everybody knows that it's open enrollment, so you can join anytime. And before everybody leaves, let me just go through if I missed. Okay, I think I didn't really miss much in the questions or the chat part. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your time. We'll meet next week, God willing. Have a great weekend and stay blessed.